feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Let's go. Thoughts can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the now. Glass half full, or has it been emptied out? Well, that's all up to you and your mind. Do you doubt anything, everything, not a thing? Make my thoughts work for me, manifest what I need, what I want, what I see. I could be anything, I attract all the things that I see. I believe I'll achieve as I breathe in and out again and again. I don't doubt, I sit and I plan, and I found out that I can execute if I'm driven, if I listen, if I learn all the wisdom. Read some books, something written, watch the best. Teach a system, I invest, never hidden, I ain't scared. Ain't no chicken, I take dares. I'll be winning, you get back what you're giving. Find the reason that you're living, what you're good at, all your gifts and what you love. Take a risk and find out what you've been missing. Yeah. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose.
Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the ABL podcast, week 6. I am here as always with my good friend Cal. How you doing, sir?
Well, I want to start it off by last week's show. I ended it by saying things are looking good right now, but I do predict that I will be dumping by next show.
Yep.
I then proceeded to have my worst week of the year, and things are smelling super dumpy right now in the Angels camp. So that's about where I'm at. So
Now, does it have anything to do with the shape of your division?
um, listen, I haven't said anything yet. I haven't. I just said
Yep.
smells dumpy,
Yep.
but I also kind of called that I was going to have the worst week ever, and I just so happened to. I predict my own downfall. That's how good I am at predicting. I am predicting my own downfalls now,
What
not other people's, just mine.
what does it
So it,
mean
it hurts.
if you were already bad and you still say that you're going to be bad? Do you still
Correct.
get the same credit?
I think it's actually really impressive to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I genuinely think it is. Just to go from bad to worse and feel it, like you feel the winds kind of turning against you. That takes some real self awareness. So yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, I'll pat myself on the back then too for doing an amazing job.
Yes.
That'll be something kind of interesting maybe as we go through and talk about some of our takes this week. Just the shape that some of the divisions are in and how that could potentially change people's opinions on truly dumping versus not. I think that could honestly have a huge impact, but as we go through, that's obviously something we can take a look at here. So let's move into our first category here. As always, Dylan did just message me and said that he tried to push an update, but it doesn't look like it's working for me yet. So why don't you start with what you came up with, and then we'll see if the power rankings will load by the time it's my turn.
Yeah, because it got a 502 error on my end too. So
Yep.
one thing I had was the Brewers starting off with a 3-0 week, and now I think they're 3-0 now. It doesn't show on Fantrax yet because I don't think Duke's gone in to change the Marlins score or anything because I
Yeah,
think
not yet.
they had the 8 start penalty.
Yep.
But Brewers are now moving to 3-0, huge week for Zach,
Yep.
which then puts the NL Central with 4 teams with a win percentage above 666.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. I think I can't believe I can't believe that division is just stacked the way it is. Because
Always.
we've year after year it's usually competitive.
Yep.
This is a new level of competitive we have not seen before.
Yep.
So don't envy the Reds for sure, but don't envy anyone else in this division
Yeah.
because it's just gonna be a dogfight pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too. I know Adam's been a big proponent of this. I think Joe's said a good amount of stuff too. But like just looking at how many people have played within their division so far, like just taking a look at the NL Central, that Lenny's actually only had one game against the NL Central, which might be a good thing for him, obviously. So that's obviously something interesting to look at as well. I'm trying to get the power rankings. Dylan said it
Sure.
should be hopefully updated and loaded now. So why don't you move on to number
Yeah,
2?
and I switched it to the AL Central instead. We got the Guardians going 3-0. I think actually gets them kind of in the hunt for sniff around the division. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but the Guardians are playing kind of weaker opponents this week, so maybe they can get the ball rolling here. Mark's very savvy, obviously has been been to the dance. So I think with him being close, I don't know what his plans are. He might be looking to dump anyways. Not off to a great start this week so far with another Tanner Hawk outing, which by the way, this is the second time we've had a negative Tanner Hawk outing on the pod.
Dude,
Live.
it's
So
kind of wild, and I mean it's like I've had some. I would put my team up against any other team in the league right now for most negative starts this year. But I don't think I've had any Tanner Houck negative starts this year.
No.
Double-digit negative starts is incredible. But I mean, honestly, like looking at his roster, I just kind of pull it up as you were kind of talking about it. Is he a buyer? Is he a seller? I mean, he doesn't have a ton for bats. I mean, Kowser's hurt, so he could maybe come back in.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because he has every single pick imaginable next year that he doesn't he can just get rid of them and still be in the hunt. I don't know. I really don't know what his plan is next year.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure it out. He's playing coy with me. Fair enough. But what do you even do with that many picks? I don't know. Unless you just sell off your entire minor leagues. Doubt it. He's still got some good minor leaguers.
I was to say
he's up to something. He's cooking something up. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I would imagine he tries to buy in some capacity, right? With those picks, whether it be I mean, I guess probably you don't go and try and buy minors unless you can get a pretty good deal, but you probably go and buy some MLB pieces if you can. You probably try and maybe get some FAAB, right, in some capacity, or like a bench guy or two. But I mean, he's got a good, I shouldn't say good, but he's got a pretty decent rotation. He's got some good names for sure. The bats could certainly use some help as of right now, just with how guys are playing. But starting our boy Renfroe in right field is not gonna cut it.
You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that at all.
Yeah.
But no, it was a huge 3-0 week because we're not sure where the Guardians were really going. They were kind of on the downtrend, and then they came out with like a 300+ point week, 3-0, huge. But again, it might just be biding time till the dump. Honestly, it's probably just might just be a fluke. I don't know, but it was just good to see the market a nice 3-0.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to imagine like Brendan and John are going to be buyers for sure. I would imagine. I mean, John 100%. He's one of the top scoring teams in the league, even though he's only 12-6. And then I would imagine Tom wants to compete, especially with the young pieces he has. It's probably going to be a lot easier for him to shop some of the young prospects he has that are maybe closer to the majors, to get rid of some of those guys, since he may not have space for them anyway. So I could see Mark dumping simply because of the state of our division.
Sure.
But yeah, could be interesting. Why don't you just finish up with your last one, and then I'll move through all mine. It does look like the power rankings is
sweet,
up, thankfully.
We got the stick of fork in the AL East. They're on life alert. It was all-time bad week for them. Combined total for the division, 3 wins. Highest score within the division was the Yankees at 263 points. Bringing up the rear was Gary's Blue Jays with 155 points. It was just an abysmal week for the AL East. Now we got a division leader that's 500.
Yep.
So yeah, this is bad PR right now in AL East land. So not sure who's going to take that one, because it's really anyone's ball game still.
Yeah, only division right now to not have a plus 500 division leader. But I'll actually talk about my last point that I was going to talk about was, is the AL Central the only division that matters in the AL?
Yes.
Because there's literally only one other team in all of the AL that is over 500, and it is the 10-8 A's in the AL West.
Mark would be a division leader in any other division in the AL right now.
Which is wild. So it's very interesting. Like it's foolish of me to even think this way, but it makes me think like, man, am I just like a few healthy guys and a couple of trades away from being able to make the playoffs this year?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it certainly feels that way, but I'm still dumping, just to be very clear on that. But yeah, just very interesting to see, obviously, that it really seems like all of the truly good competitive teams are coming out of the Central this year, which, to be fair, it's always been that way. So I'm not too surprised about it. Okay, so my a couple other things that I noticed, and it went bad. The scores went back now. Did it revert? I'm going through again. Yeah, I think it reverted. So Dylan had it. Dylan had it to the point I had it refreshed, and it was looking good because the scores had actually changed back. So for those of you that don't check the website daily like I do, the power rankings, there were some kind of issue behind the scenes with the formula and stuff, and it was showing the Nationals and Phillies as having a 273 power ranking score, which is, again, 100 is like the average. So having a 273 power score you're just straight up breaking the model, essentially. Especially when, what did I say? The Royals were in 4th, and they were like almost 100 points lower than both of them.
Right.
So pretty crazy, but we'll see. I know Dylan's working on it. We've had some bugs and some glitches with it. We're still trying to work on getting the kinks out. But that was kind of my first point, was that just the Phillies and Nationals had kind of broken that. And then the second piece, I was actually going to look at how the wins kind of had differed, but again, we were kind of having issues with that as well. I'll see. I just refreshed it. Nope, still the same. So that's fine. But the interesting part to me still, you look at like the teams in the top 10. I think it's actually kind of interesting that Frank with Miami is as high as he is. I'm pretty sure he was in the middle before with our formula, but he does have 11 wins.
Well, that's going to change because he's going to lose 2.
Oh,
so
true.
He's going to go back to 500 ball now.
That makes a lot more sense.
The fact that he's one start away from being in that spot is also kind of brutal.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. I was like, I don't remember Miami being that high, but that would be why. That would be why. So those are kind of my my couple takeaways there. And then obviously, yeah, the AL certainly going through the Central this year.
AL will be kind of our content machine, I think, as far as it being actually fun.
Yeah.
We can kind of rant and rave about the NL juggernauts all we want, but at the end of the day, it's boring because these teams are just so much better than everybody else.
Yep.
But yeah, I think AL was just going to be a race to the top with just not a lot of top dogs. So
yeah.
So it will be very very interesting to see who ends up in the playoffs.
Well, and one thing I was thinking of too, I remember, or I just remembered that we have the new rule in place where people pick their playoff opponents, too, which that could be very interesting, given that like there probably aren't going to be many teams who are going to want to play if the season ended today. Who's picking John? to play.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No one is picking John. You're picking either Cleveland or the White Sox probably, and you don't want to play either of them either. So very, very interesting to kind of see that. But anyway, let's move on to transactions. I did get the word from Dylan this week as well that he's going to do the MVP race every month. So very similar to your tier list as well. So we'll check on that every month and see how that goes as well. Yeah, let's move on to some transaction stuff for the week. So my first one, actually the one right here at the top that includes you from Saturday, grabbing Weston Wilson off of waivers. And I kind of wanted to bring that up to talk about like FAAB and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to pass on him for a second and talk about the other interesting transaction note that I had. But that was Maeda getting dropped. Which again, he essentially had been working in a relief role this year. I know there was some, thought that maybe he'd get converted back into a starter at some point for Detroit, maybe injuries or whatever it might be, but has really kind of struggled this year. Obviously, he's going into free agency now, and it's crazy because the Tigers are still responsible for $10 million that he's owed this season, which is crazy.
The Tigers are good at that. They are probably leading the league in that.
I would imagine. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting because again, a bigger name who's had decent seasons. If you go back and look at just points per game, last year obviously struggled, but before that was still pitching well. So yeah, just kind of interesting to see. So going back to Wilson though, and this is a question that I kind of had for you, and I posed this to you certainly in the pre-show a little bit, but I'm curious what your opinions are, maybe more in depth. So with Wilson, this was a name with many others that have gone up on the block channel, who essentially in any other league deserve to be in the player pool and not picked up by anyone. Mark, I think it was Mark who put him out there, and a couple other people put other people that are similar out there. No bites. People aren't willing to move $1 FAAB for them, but people are willing to put waiver claims in for them. And so kind of a discussion I wanted to have was we've talked ad nauseum about the reduced FAAB, right? And the perceived negative impact that it's had, that obviously a lot of people have made that known that they feel that way. So my question to you more so is the waiver wire a way around the perceived negativity of the reduced FAAB in this league? Because it's not as reliable, but it allows you to save FAAB. What are your thoughts?
Kind of. I guess my I don't know. It wasn't intentional. I guess my reasoning was just like, okay. I mean, no one was willing to give $1 FAAB for this guy. It's a good chance the pool is pretty low for those who will take no FAAB for the guy. Yeah. So once he got released, I'll just. I mean, it cost me nothing to click the yellow button. So yeah, absolutely, I'll do that, or the orange button rather. But I don't know if it has a league-wide effect as far as getting guys to the wire, because I've seen enough guys just not get picked up. Yep. They get cut and they just go to the free agency pool and no one picks them up for weeks.
Yep.
So I don't know in that specific case. I think it's isolated incident for what I was doing.
Okay.
I don't know if you can apply it league-wide because it varies player to player. Weston Wilson is someone who plays a ton of positions, if you want to call it that. And gets enough playing time for free.
Sure.
So yeah, for me, I thought it was great value.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's free at bats. He's batting 8th today or whatever, but which I shocked by he's even playing. So I thought he was going to be on the bench anyway. So that was a surprise. But yeah, I think it's case by case basis. But I think by and large, teams are definitely willing just to not have to spend fab on a guy. I think it's more enticing than previous years for sure.
Yeah, it just and it would be very interesting, I think, to go back maybe in like last year, obviously specifically because that was the first year with reduced fab. Were there as many waiver wire pickups, right, as there have been seemingly this year? I think that's something that would be interesting to look at. I just pulled up the fab budget page as well, just to kind of see where everyone was at, fab wise. Plenty of teams have money and have fab. So I don't think, to your point, I don't necessarily think maybe it had an impact on people not necessarily able to spend the dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it honestly is very telling that we have, I mean, easily over half the league has more than $20 of fab left, that none of those teams were willing to pay the dollar for someone like that, right? Someone who's a bench hitter who gets playing time. That, I mean, those guys are gold in this league, right? It's like a Sparp, essentially, right? A guy who's gonna get 3 or 4 points every 3 or 4 days, right? Like, I mean, that's invaluable. So to me, I think I look at that and I say, well, maybe teams are valuing this fab because they want it later on in the year, maybe for trades. They want it maybe later on in the year to try and pick up other guys. Or I know you mentioned this as well, and Jeff and Steve have been very vocal about this, but they love to go prospect hunting, right? Mm-hmm. So keeping that $20+ throughout the year, that's 20+ dart throws, right? That you're going to have. And a lot of people, I think, would argue that they would rather have that dart throw than Weston Wilson.
Correct. Absolutely.
I think there's also another maybe smaller group of people who would argue they want both. They want the dart throw and Weston Wilson, and so they want more fab. But obviously that's not reality. So I think that's kind of something interesting. Thoughts on that?
Well, very fair, but it looks like there has been a lot. So I was as you're talking, I was coming through all the waiver wire transactions. There's been like over 20 since the season has started,
Holy.
which feels like a ton. Like compared to previous years, we're only in mid-May, and there's been over 20. So once I got to like 17, I kept seeing orange dots. I was like, okay, we're gonna hit 20 mark easily. So it looks like since the start of regular season, there's been over 20. So
wow.
I'm very surprised by that. But no, I absolutely think that I am of the belief that I would rather, like you said, spend the money on a dart throw or even just not Weston Wilson, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. It's just not that. I'm not even that much of a hater. I have an ACL too.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously probably Weston Wilson's biggest fan, and even I wasn't willing to put the kicker in for him. So I just think it's just another way to kind of save that precious fab that has been made precious because of the reduction.
Yeah, no, that's actually really, really interesting. I would not have guessed 20+ waiver wire transactions. That's kind of crazy. And I would imagine, again, I clicked through it really quickly, but I would imagine half of those guys, if not more, are back in the minors again, or they are minor leaguers, right? One of the two, I would assume, which I think makes it all the more intriguing because you're looking at guys who may be in the majors for a week or two, and people aren't willing to pay for that, like they potentially were, earlier on when we had more fab.
Yep.
So you kind of have to be more strategic in that sense, which I think is interesting. But okay, anything else transaction wise? We didn't really have any noteworthy trades or anything like that. So anything else you wanted to kind of hit on?
No, I think those are pretty solid. The my other one was I don't think I touched on that one, but kind of a fall from grace that really ended abruptly. So, but yeah, I think it's a discussion to be had as far as waivers go. I'm curious to hear everyone else's thoughts on what they think of the waiver pool being seemingly like a huge increase this year compared to previous years.
That's a good point. I genuinely, I don't, I feel like we don't ask a ton on the pod here for people to comment or something, but I genuinely would want to know, like, what do other people like? The rest of you see this? Like, or do you guys see it as a these a ton more claims being made on the waiver wire? Is that like a good thing, a bad thing? Do you think it's related to FAAB? Is it just because people are dropping decent players and teams can pick the, like, what is it? I'd be really curious to know what other people think about that, because I just thought it was something kind of interesting to talk about. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, let's move on to next week. All right, head-to-head schedule.
Yeah, so one thing I was looking at here was we're getting a World Series rematch. So that's pretty exciting. We're getting Pirates versus the Tigers.
Love it.
And honestly, these teams are still just as good as they were last year. So I think they're still equally matched. I'm very curious to see who wins. I'm not taking bets on this one. I think either one of them could win out in here. So I think just a good Clash of Titans there. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. Love it. Go ahead, keep going.
Oh no, I wasn't sure if you had it up or not, but what I have is I got Mark. I mentioned it earlier, but I had Mark's Guardians. Hopefully, can kind of get some momentum rolling. They're going to play myself. That should be a dog walk, and then you got the Phillies, which is going to be a tough one, and then the Reds. So I think if maybe the White Sox maybe slip up this week or something happens in the Central, maybe next week we're talking Guardians not dumping. So that's something to watch for.
Yeah, I mean, White Sox have Mariners, Phillies, Reds, so at least a win there, maybe two. So it could be close again. But go ahead and do your last one.
Yep, last one I had was just an interdivision matchup. Two teams are a game apart from each other, and it's the NL West with the Padres and the Dodgers. So it's another close matchup. It seemed close in points. So we'll see what ramifications that could have, because there's not a lot of divisional matchups this week. I counted them. There's like 5 or 6 or whatever.
There's a ton of cross conference. There's a ton of AL versus NL this week.
I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it's just the way that it's staggered. I have no idea. Because it seems like there's only certain matchup types. So like Dodgers, Tigers, and Pirates are all in one stack for different teams throughout the week. So I just seem to be how the cards fell this week. So. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. See, because honestly, that division is also a toss-up. I have no idea who's winning that one. The Giants are what
10-8.
The 4th lowest scoring team, and they're leading the division at 10-8.
Crazy.
So that's also a who knows what. So yeah, Dodgers Padres on my watch list.
Yeah, that's wild. For me, I had looking at the Royals first. Again, talking about being top of the AL Central, but certainly John potentially being seen as the better team. He's got a good opportunity this week. He's got the Brewers and Cardinals as 2 bigger games, and then Astros, who are at least halfway decent too. So good slate of games there. And then I wanted to look at just Washington, Philly. They don't play each other, but obviously just checking on their schedules, both teams are 1-loss teams. Nationals have Mariners, Reds, and Giants. You would think that's an easy 3-0 for them. I highly doubt they lose any of those games unless they have a down week. And then the Phillies, they have the White Sox, so certainly tough matchup there. The Blue Jays should be a win for them. And then we talked about already with Cleveland.
Yep.
So potentially, Cleveland and the White Sox could potentially give Adam a run for his money. Team has a down week, so we could maybe see the Nationals pull a game or two out this week. And then the last one, Tampa, was actually one I was trying to pick a team that was kind of in the middle, and we all obviously love Kevin, so figured I would talk about him and his team. He plays the Brewers, Cardinals, and Cubs. He's got the NL Central rundown this week. So 3 of the top 4
arguably
teams.
The worst run you could have right now. So do not envy that at all.
So it'll be interesting to see if he can do anything with that week. But he called it out in chat, so I figured I'd shout him out on the pod too. So
he might still be leading the division at the end of it if he goes 0-3. So who knows what happens?
True. Yeah, 100% still could be. Very true. All right. Well, that is all I have. Anything else on your end?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to y'all next week.
See you.
Bye.
Still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you